render your appropriate salute. When the captain is pulled into the parking lot, the rehearsal will stop. You will then hear me say, "Order! Home!" You'll then drop your salute. We'll stand fast for a few minutes till they get situated with Farmington Fire Department. As soon as the back of the door to the hearse opens and they're going to take the captain out, you'll hear me say once again, "Detail, present, home!" You'll come up again and run the appropriate salute. As soon as he's brought into the funeral home, you'll hear, "Detail, order, home!" And you'll bring your salute down. At that point, I will say, "Detail, dismissed," and then you'll be free to go about your way. Any questions? Everybody can hear me? Roger that. Thank you.
Good enough? Good enough. Thank you.
No, I don't.
Can't be two of them, please.
I ended up going down there after a while. Yeah, that's what I meant. It's actually closer to Farmington there.
Right, I'm saying, is it fine? Is it fine?
Damn, small world.
Kids.
Yeah. Yeah, just 1 minute. You want me live? Oh.
Good morning, everyone. We come to you on Facebook Live this morning. You're looking at a live look at the scene of the procession for the body of Captain Michael Bell. The community of Farmington preparing to welcome home the veteran fire captain this morning. Bell was killed in the line of duty yesterday in an explosion that rocked the community. Now the body of Captain Bell is in procession from the state medical examiner's office in Augusta back to Farmington. We're going to start off with Sean Stackhouse, who is in Farmington with more at this hour. Hey, Sean.
Lindsay, thank you. Yes, I'm here right outside of the funeral home that Captain Bell will be brought to. The procession is currently underway. They left Augusta at the Chief Medical Examiner's office right around 9:30 earlier this morning. We're expecting them here in the next 10 to 15 minutes. And as you can see, I'll step out of the frame. Folks have already started to line the streets. They've been absolutely packed for about the past 15 or 20 minutes. I'll show you some of the first responders and others that have already started to line the streets to pay their respects to that fallen Captain Michael Bell, a 30-year veteran of the Farmington Fire Department here. It's just absolutely rocked this community. I was speaking with a man earlier today who said that he was able to feel that blast from that explosion at the Leap Incorporated building as far away as Livermore Falls. And I'll step back in. It's really been a very tough situation for this fire department. I was outside of the fire station for a few hours this morning, and the entire time that I was there, departments from across the state were coming in. I know that there was a ladder and an engine that were parked in the station from Augusta. Lewiston also had a ladder truck that they brought in to support. Now, there are just so many members of this Farmington community that are feeling the sorrow, that suffering of losing one of their own. And as you can see, just so many men and women and first responders that are here just really looking to show their support and pay their respects to a fallen veteran captain. But for now, I will send things back to you in the studio, Lindsay.
All right, Sean, thank you very much. A lot of people out there waiting for the arrival of the procession. Of course, today many questions remain regarding the blast, what caused it, an investigation launching yesterday. We should know more, I should say, at 3 o'clock this afternoon. That's when a news conference is scheduled where law enforcement officials will update the media and the community on the ongoing investigation. But yes, right now you're getting a live look at that procession route. And I believe we do have some more information on possibly what may have started this investigation or what may have started the blast. We'll find out that at 3 o'clock. Let's take a live listen into this procession route. The procession expected to arrive in Farmington down High Street any minute now onto Broadway and back down Main Street to the Farmington Fire Department. It will end at the Wiles Remembrance Center Funeral Home at 137 Farmington Falls Road. Now, we should mention police in Farmington are asking the community to who want to view the procession to remain off the road and stand a safe distance away from the road. And for more on the procession, we're going to turn things over to Zach Blanchard, who is also live for us this morning in Farmington. Hey, Zach.
Hey, Lindsay. Yes, we are here actually at the scene of the explosion. This procession route will actually go right by here, but I want to give you a live look right now at what this site looks like this morning, because as we await this procession, you have to remember where this all started. Of course, the loss of Captain Bell, several other firefighters recovering from their injuries this morning, at least 7 others injured in this explosion. And as you can see here, there are crews here to start cleanup. There are also members of the ATF and other investigators on the scene. The fire marshal's office is here. And from this vantage point, I mean, you can see the crews. You can also see the debris that's just strewn all over the road, and the fire trucks in the same place they were when those crews arrived the other day. But over here to our right, you'll see the road where this procession will make its way by in just minutes now. We are awaiting that procession. It will continue along this road. So this is Farmington Falls Road where this explosion happened. It will then go onto High Street. From High Street, it will go past UMaine at Farmington, where we are already seen several people out there. Many students gathered there to show their support. There were people holding flags, all sorts of things like that. And then from there, they will go onto Broadway, which is right in downtown Farmington, and loop back around all the way down Main Street to the fire station and the funeral home there. And of course, that's where Sean was earlier on. But as we've been here on the scene throughout the last 24 hours, I can tell you, talking to community members, those that lived just feet from where this explosion happened, that have been displaced from their homes, or just talking to those who have lived here all their lives and knew these firefighters firsthand, you can tell that this community is just still in shock this morning. So this procession will be a time for them to really kind of start the healing process and show that they are strong together. But for now, Lindsay, I'll send it back to you as we await this procession.
All right, Zach, thank you for that. There will, of course, be a candlelight vigil happening tonight at 7 o'clock. We have the details at our website and mobile app. That'll be in Buxton. We are going to continue to bring you updates, of course, throughout the day on air and online as soon as we do know more information. But of course, you're getting a look right now at the debris left behind at the site of LEAP Incorporated. And now we return to a live look at the procession route where members of Maine's law enforcement community are awaiting the body of Captain Michael Bell, 68 years old, a 30-year veteran of the Farmington Fire Rescue Department. If you're just joining us on Facebook Live, we are looking at a live look at the procession route. Fire and police crews from all over the state escorting Captain Michael Bell's body from Augusta, where it was autopsied at the medical examiner's office. This morning, the procession will arrive, is expected to arrive in Farmington at any moment. We're taking a look right now. It takes about an hour if you're traveling by car to get from Augusta to Farmington. Getting a look at Google Maps right now, looking at the procession route. It's expected to arrive down High Street onto Broadway in Farmington, and then back down Main Street to the Farmington Fire Department, ending at the funeral home at 137 Farmington Falls Road. As you can see, we have 2 live crews in the field awaiting the arrival of that procession. Police in Farmington asking the community wishing to view this and be part of this procession to remain a safe distance from the roadway.
5 minutes or so, they should be up to that corner. So
Yeah, it's running behind already in the should be here in the next few minutes.
Some powerful images from the blast yesterday, the site of the blast. There you see Captain Bell there as well. Scenes of rubble and dust at the LEAP Incorporated site, which serves adults living with intellectual and physical disabilities, helping them live their best lives. A look at the candlelight vigil that was held last night. And we are going to turn things over to Sean Stackhouse, who is along the procession route in Farmington at this hour. Sean, how are you?
Lindsay, thank you. We are awaiting the arrival of the body of Captain Michael Bell. It's expected to be arriving here at Wiles Funeral Home in Farmington in just about 5 minutes. We'll bring that to you as soon as he arrives here. It's been a very emotional day. So many first responders have been here for hours, and it's just truly affecting the community. And I spoke with another person who actually knows one of the victims who's in serious condition. That is Larry Lord. He was the maintenance worker, and the person that I knew was just telling me how much he is praying and how much he is hoping for a strong recovery from Lord. This is just such a serious accident and something that nobody wants to see. And just far too many of these types of accidents we've seen in the past year with first responder deaths in the state of Maine. Now, as you can see, I'll step out of the screen so you can just take a notice of how many first responders are here. They're from all across the state. Some I have seen from Rangeley, I've seen Holden as well. And it's not just firefighters. There are police officers, there are state troopers, EMS. This is something that has impacted the first responding community in the state of Maine, as well as the community in Farmington. We saw those emotional words from our Governor Janet Mills yesterday, as she is a Farmington native herself. And as I'll step back into the frame, we're still awaiting the procession to arrive here at Wiles Funeral Home in Farmington. That should be expected any minute now. We'll be able to bring that to you as soon as the body of Michael Bell arrives, a 30-year veteran of the Farmington Fire Department and a captain. Now I'm going to send things back to you, Lindsay.
Sean, thank you very much for that look at the procession route there. Of course, from the moment we learned about the blast yesterday, so many Mainers were wondering how they can help, what they can do. We got on the phone with United Way of the Tri-Valley area, where they are taking donations. You can find out more information at their website. You see it on your screen there, uwtva.org. You can send in money, you can drop off donations. They have all the information at their website. And of course, we are going to learn more about the blast investigation today at 3 o'clock. That's when a news conference is scheduled to take place. Looking at some aerial footage from yesterday of the scene. Of course, a photo of Captain Michael Bell, a 30-year veteran of the department. And once again, a vigil, candlelight vigil happening tonight, one happening last night, as you see here. And we are going to send things over now to Zach Blanchard, who is also in Farmington this morning. Hi, Zach.
Hi, Lindsay. Yes, so as we await this procession, I'm told that it is a little bit behind and going pretty slowly through the towns as it makes its way to Farmington. But I do want to take us back one more time to the scene of where this all began. You can see here this morning there are investigators out here. The road remains closed here on Route 2. And what's really eerie, and talking to people here all morning long, is the fire trucks that are still just sitting there in the same place. They arrived yesterday when they were called here for what they believed was a propane leak, a gas leak of some kind, and became, of course, something that was just absolutely devastating and completely shocking for everyone in this area. Yesterday in the press conference, officials said that those fire trucks were damaged in this explosion, of course, because of how close they were to the building. There are also a number of vehicles just left completely where they were, in the parking lot as well as in the road. But you can see these investigators are on scene, federal officials, state officials, everyone kind of trying to figure out just what happened here and how it happened. And not too far up this road is when we'll really start to see the lines and lines of people. You can see they have it blocked off right now, but you can see the support this community really is rallying around these people. And right now we're seeing kind of the first signs. The state police trooper just rolled in, so we're expecting that procession any minute now. I know we've gone over the route, but it will go up High Street here. It will go to Broadway, where it will turn left, and then it will turn left onto Main Street and go down through downtown Farmington to the fire station. You can see these folks, the investigators, lining up here, preparing for that procession as we speak. So as we continue to wait, we aren't seeing them just yet. I'll send it back to you, Lindsay.
Oh, he just said, yes, he just said, he said, I see us here, not on the app though. That's great. I attached live.
All right, Zach, thank you for that. As we see more people gathering along the procession route, members of Maine's first responder community are there. Captain Bell's brother, Terry Bell, the department's chief, was among the 6 others who were injured at that blast yesterday. Here is a list of the others who were injured. Of course, we just mentioned Farmington Fire Chief Terry Bell, Captain Timothy Hardy, Captain Scott Baxter, firefighter Theodore Baxter, firefighter Joseph Hastings, and Deputy Chief Clyde Ross. We should also mention Larry Lord, a maintenance worker at the facility at Leap Incorporated, was injured. He is 60 years old and he was flown to Mass General Hospital in Boston. And for those just joining us now on Facebook Live, you are getting a live look along the procession route where any moment now the body of Captain Michael Bell will be escorted. They began this morning from the State Medical Examiner's office in Augusta, traveling about an hour to Farmington. And a look at the outpouring of support from not only members of Maine's fire community, but also our elected officials and state leaders, sending well wishes for those who are recovering from the blast and for the family and loved ones of Captain Michael Bell. We heard yesterday from Senators Angus King and Senator Susan Collins, from countless fire departments across the state, police departments. Many offering prayers, wishing strength. And we do have crews at that procession route. Many members of Maine's fire and police community around the state, part of that escort this morning, transporting the body of Captain Michael Bell from the State Medical Examiner's Office in Augusta to Farmington, where the funeral home is located. It's expected to arrive any moment now. Again, we have 2 live crews at the scene, awaiting the arrival of the procession. Many questions today about that blast at Leap Incorporated in Farmington yesterday. We should be learning more around 3 o'clock this afternoon. That's when a news conference is scheduled where officials will update the media and the community on the findings of their investigation so far. Farmington police taking to social media last night, writing, "All are encouraged to show support for Captain Bell. Served all of us with honor and courage. All of us at Farmington Police extend our deepest condolences to our family at Farmington Fire Rescue and to the family of Captain Bell. Please keep your thoughts and prayers with all victims and members of the Farmington Fire Department during this terrible time." The blast yesterday happening in Farmington at the site of Leap Incorporated, a organization that's been around since 1980, which helps people living with developmental, physical, cognitive disabilities live independently, gives them the resources they need to succeed. We first learned about this facility back in 2014 on 207. Rob Nesbitt toured the site of one of the group homes, and that's where we met Sweet Caitlin, who is a great example of the work that Leap does. Take a look.
Caitlin Turner takes her role volunteering at a local hospital very seriously.
Here's my big strong muscles.
She's dedicated to her duties and to her community. She's one of many who are building relationships, finding purpose, and working towards living independently through Leap Incorporated.
And off we go.
Kristen Grondin works at Franklin Memorial Hospital. She always looks forward to seeing Caitlin.
Our volunteers here do a lot of work for us, and they're extremely helpful, and we appreciate what they do. And especially little Caitlin. She's great. I'll see you next week.
When we first met Caitlin in 2014, she was a resident of one of Leap's group homes.
What you making today, Mike?
Where she and others learn everything about everyday skills and making important life decisions on their own. Caitlin is one of the more than 75 people Leap serves, with nearly 200 employees, providing services to encourage acceptance and boost empowerment.
You go right straight down towards this way.
And of course, the blast happening at Leap Incorporated yesterday. A little more than 24 hours later, we are here today with a procession route waiting for the body of Captain Michael Bell, who was killed while responding to that scene yesterday. 68 years old. As we've mentioned, a 30-year veteran of the Farmington Fire Rescue Department. Six other firefighters and a maintenance worker were injured, sent to the hospital. As of this morning, 5 still remain at the hospital. You're seeing the names on the screen here of members of the fire community who were also injured in that blast yesterday. Chief Terry Bell among them, the brother of Captain Michael Bell. We know the procession departed from the State Medical Examiner's office in Augusta this morning. Around 9:30 this morning. The procession expected to arrive any moment now in Farmington. And we will rejoin you on Facebook Live as soon as that procession arrives in Farmington. And we are just getting word right now, actually, that it's making its way. The body of Captain Michael Bell arriving in Farmington. We're seeing state police, local police. A truck from the Farmington Fire Department. As the procession arrives in Farmington, it will continue down High Street onto Broadway and then back down Main Street to the fire department. It will end at the Wiles Remembrance Center Funeral Home. That's located at 137 Farmington Falls Road. And we do have News Center Maine's Zach Blanchard following this procession as it continues into Farmington.
All right, so this is News Center Maine's Zach Blanchard. We are following the procession. You can see past the fairgrounds here. There are ambulances, several of the Farmington fire trucks, and already we are starting to see just the lines of people. So already talking to a lot of these members of the community, standing out here today for them was of course not something they wanted to have to do, but something that just made sense. Many people saying that this is such a small, tight-knit community. You hear it over and over again, but in Maine, our firefighters, our police officers, they are our friends, our family members, whether it be full-time or volunteer. And everyone in this town knew the victims in some way. Those recovering from their injuries, at least 7 of them recovering from their injuries, and of course, they're all remembering and honoring someone they're calling a hero, Captain Michael Bell. He's someone who served on the Farmington Fire Department for 30 years. And so these American flags are for him. This moment for them, like Governor Mills has kind of been articulating, is a chance for them to at least start to heal. Governor Mills addressed kind of folks all across the state in a moment last night on social media, telling people to just hug your first responders. If you see them, thank them for what they do. And you can just see here the number of people pouring out for this is no surprise for Maine, but I'll let you just take it in. As you can see, men taking off their hats. They have hands on hearts. Some people here along the side of the road have been very tearful, crying. Because something that also can't be forgotten here, this wasn't just something that happened down the road. It completely was felt all across this county and really across the state, but the actual explosion itself, we're hearing from people who felt it for miles and miles away. And so not only was that terrifying for them, hearing the news that one of their own was hurt and many others were injured, just added to it all. Right now we're approaching the University of Maine here in Farmington. Again, not all that far from the Leap Inc. facility where that explosion happened. All of these students here felt it. I just have to say, Maine has seen way too much of this. It's had to come together like this too many times. And as you can see, we're turning onto Broadway into downtown. The streets are just completely packed full of people. Young people, old, families, friends of the victims. Truly incredible to see this outpouring. Everywhere you look, people on either side of the street.
Okay, there.
Detail! Attend! Who? Present! Who?
The procession is continuing down Main Street right now, nearing the fire station. Sheriff's deputies standing at salute as we round the corner here. Flags all across the town here at half-staff, all across the state at half-staff. As you can see here, we're making our way We're nearing the fire station and the funeral home. The American flag draped between the ladder trucks of Jay and Wilton. And already in the last 24 hours, we have just heard of the constant, unsurprising though, outpouring of support from fire departments all across this state. Whether that was holding vigil at the medical examiner's office last night, whether that was stepping up to provide manpower to Farmington. Many of those injured, many of those in hospitals right now were full-time. You can see that outpouring of support just with these, all of the departments here lining the street. We have a number of veterans, firefighters out here who know firsthand the sacrifice that they make, that their family members make, that their loved ones make every single day. So that is the end of the procession. The funeral home is right behind us. I'm going to send it back to Lindsay in the studio.
Zach Blanchard reporting live from the procession route in Farmington for the body of Captain Michael Bell, 68 years old, killed yesterday, 30-year veteran of the Farmington Fire Rescue. Of course, we saw a show of support by Maine's law enforcement and first responder community along that route. Many people turned out as well, hands over hearts, holding American flags. And there we have a look at the funeral home there, not far from the Farmington Fire Department. As Zach mentioned, you could see visibly the emotions of people who turned out today to honor and respect Captain Michael Bell. Many showing their support. An emotional day for many, of course, for the family and loved ones of Captain Michael Bell.
So you're down now? Company! Form up in Wild Funeral Home lot! Come forward, form up! Chief wants company forward!
seeing members. Here you are seeing members of Maine's first responder community who were standing along that procession route, gathering now outside the funeral home in Farmington. We saw so many saluting along that route. We saw members of the Farmington community and beyond with flags, American flags, hands over hearts. See members of the Rangeley Fire Rescue here as well. Fire departments represented from all over the state. We're going to check back in now with Zach Blanchard, who is live in Farmington with more. Zach?
Yeah, Lindsay, I do want to allow people to take in the scene here, but I also want to give some perspective. Right now, where this funeral home is quite literally just feet from the fire station. And on top of that, it's really just down the street from where this site of the explosion was. So for these officers, for these firefighters, for these community members, when we say tight-knit, we mean tight-knit. We talked to business owners right on this street yesterday that were terrified. We're sitting right in the parking lot of an auto body shop here. The owner saying he watched as a firefighter just stood outside of the fire station and looked down the street and thought the worst.
There, you guys are gonna have to move. I need the intersection.
Back at the site. At the site. I don't know if we're up right now.
And that is a live look at the body of Captain Michael Bell arriving at the funeral home in Farmington. We will have continued coverage on air and online throughout the day. And just ahead in about 35 minutes here on News Center Maine at noon. We thank you for joining us on this Facebook Live, and we'll be back on air and online at noon.